very warm welcome to Wembley for this League Two playoff final between Burton Albion and Fleetwood Town. 9 months of hard work comes down to just one game from history, because that is what will be made today, irrespective of the result. Neither of these clubs have been as high as the third tier of English football before. Not long ago, neither could have dreamed of being on the brink of League One next season. This has been only Fleetwood's second ever campaign in the Football League, as they chase an unprecedented 6th promotion in 10 seasons. When chairman Andy Pilley took over 11 years ago, Fleetwood Town were in the 9th tier and playing in front of crowds of less than 100. Opponents Burton Albion only became a football club themselves for the first time in 2009 and have quietly gone about their business of becoming established, to the extent that they reached the playoff semi-finals last season. Can they bury the heartache of 12 months ago and use the National Stadium as their inspiration to write a glorious page in the history books? And you can but only imagine the nerves, the tension. Graham Alexander and Gary Rowett share a handshake, the respective managers, and will very proudly indeed now lead out the two sides into a Wembley that's lost a little bit of watery sunshine and is covered in grey clouds at the moment. But what a day for these two football clubs. It may not be literally at the moment their day in the sun, but in every other respect it is. What a rise for Burton Albion and Fleetwood Town. Two clubs who really underpin this fantastic football pyramid in English football. Supporters who've been with them through thick and thin, mainly thin, and some wearing the red and white of Fleetwood would have been with them since their days in the North West Counties League as recently as 2003. And now a presentation party who will greet the managers and two teams. Conor Grant, the Director of Products of the Football League sponsor Sky Bet. Alongside him is the Chairman of the Football League, Greg Clark. And joining them in the presentation party, the Ambassador for Prostate Cancer UK, Ian Ridley. Greg Clark leading the presentation team. Wembley, as you can see, by no means full today. These are two of the smallest fan base for clubs anywhere in the 4 divisions of English football. Fleetwood and Burton Albion enjoyed the 5th and 6th lowest average home attendances in League Two this season. Size of the crowd means nothing to Gary Rowett or Graham Alexander. The two sets of players out there. This is a dream afternoon to play on the hallowed turf of the national Wembley Stadium.
Will you please be upstanding for our national anthem, led for us today by gospel trio Divine Divine.
Some very and understandably nervous players down there. Can't wait to get their first kick of the ball. The adrenaline pumping. And let's check on the two teams. Burton Albion are without their most experienced defender in Ian Sharps, whose red card in the playoff semi-final first leg game against Southend rules him out today. His replacement at centre-back, Shane Cansdale-Sheriff, hasn't trained this week, but his Achilles problem is risked from the start. It's 4-4-2 for manager Gary Rowett, who left Billy Key out of the return leg against Southend, but he scored twice against Fleetwood this season and is preferred to Dominic Knowles. Adam McGurk is the striker in form. His goals in each leg against Southend were crucial in getting his club to Wembley. Fleetwood Town make just one change from the side that started the semi-final second leg against York City. Alan Goodall comes into the holding midfield role in place of Stephen Schumacher. Charlie Taylor is one of three players on loan to Fleetwood in this lineup, and he's just agreed a new 3-year contract with his parent club Leeds United. The other two loanees are Ian Hume. The 30-year-old tastes Wembley for the first time in his career, while Josh Morris, who joined in February from Blackburn, has the pace and skill to exploit the wide-open spaces that Wembley has to offer. It's certainly a risk. The Australian defender Shane Cansdale-Sheriff believes that he's fit enough to start. His manager believes that there is an element of risk about it. Ian Sharps would most certainly have started ahead of this man had he not picked up that semi-final red card. Adam McGurk nearly quit football a few years ago after being released by Aston Villa. He had a catalogue of injuries, said he fell out of love with the game. He's now thanking his family who got behind him to get him back into the big time. And talking of big time, he's looking for his 6th promotion with Fleetwood. He's been with them since 2003, centre-back Nathan Pond. Over 350 appearances for the club. Very special day indeed for him. And the playmaker in the Fleetwood Town side, Anthony Sarcevic. He was playing in the Conference North when Fleetwood picked him up from Chester FC. Gary Rowett on record as saying he thought Graham Alexander's Fleetwood would go up automatically this season. They had one of the biggest budgets. Gary Rowett has to deal with one of the lowest in the 4th tier. Graham Alexander was a playoff winner here just 5 years ago. He was a starter for Burnley as they reached the Premier League in the win against Sheffield United. That was his only win in 7 playoff campaigns as a player. Lost in 3 finals. So Burton Albion in their yellow shirts get us underway in the last of the Football League playoffs for this season at Wembley. Who will join Queen's Park Rangers, winners of the Championship playoff, and Rotherham United, winners yesterday in that League One playoff final in Dreamland. Both managers been practicing penalties if we are to go all the way, just as Rotherham and Leyton Orient did yesterday. Had late drama in both of the 2 playoff finals. Bobby Zamora getting a 90th minute winner for QPR against Derby County. And Billy Key, can he keep his mind focused on the game? His wife is in labour. He was rushed back to be at her bedside last night. He was up until 6 o'clock this morning, and his wife said, get in the car, get yourself to Wembley and play. Can he crown it with a goal? Fleetwood captain. Mark Roberts picking out Hume, who's got it back here off Morris. Didn't really get hold of the shot, Ian Hume, and that was a better effort from David Ball, and it was an excellent save by Dean Linus. Had to get a strong hand to that, the Burton Albion goalkeeper. Hume with the initial shot, but on the turn here, Ball. It's a save that he would expect to make, but early on in a Wembley final, it's an important one for Dean Linus. Morris with the Fleetwood corner, and the header, Linus with the save. Very nearly an opening goal there for Fleetwood Town. Final shot comes in from Mark Roberts, but twice David Ball has been denied by Dean Linus. There's Ball's header on target. Linus happy to just get something behind this. Fast start here from Graham Alexander's Fleetwood Town. And of the previous meetings, and there's been 4 of them this past season, between these two or anything to go by, we will get goals. 14 in the previous 4 meetings. In which, incidentally, Burton Albion have come out on top twice. It's been 1 draw. Graham Alexander, the only victory came at Burton's Pirelli Stadium. Gary Rowett played at the very highest level. Played a fair amount of his career in the Premier League. The likes of Everton and Derby and Leicester. Free kick here earned by McGurk. There's McLaughlin. Now Pond. Roberts. Centre-back partnership was very strong in the semi-final against York. And Fleetwood were the only team to come through those semi-finals in the playoffs in 3 divisions with a clean sheet. Just 1 Matty Blair goal against his former club, York. Settled that particular tie. Cleared by Linus. And well by Pond. Put forward here towards David Ball. Released well by Cansdale Sheriff. And cleared by McFadzean. Callum McFadzean on loan from Sheffield United. Ian Hume brings bags of experience to the Fleetwood front line, the Canadian international. Very likely to see quite a contrast in the 2 styles out here today. Burton Albion, much more direct approach. Graham Alexander loves his Fleetwood Town team to play passing game through that talented midfield of the likes of Sarcevic and Morris, who are excellent passers of the ball. Here's Sarcevic. Morris, helped on by Goodall. Sarcevic, not quite the control he needed there. David Ball, cleared by Holness. It's been a very encouraging start from Fleetwood's point of view. Settled much quicker than their opponents here. Charlie Taylor with the Fleetwood throw. Taylor's cross, comfortable enough for Linus. There's Andy Pilley, the Fleetwood Town chairman, rumoured to have put £10 million of his own money into the football club in the last 11 years. Boy, is it paying off. £10 million is a fortune at this level of English football. Even clubs at a higher level than this could only dream of having that amount of money to operate with. That's why Fleetwood were amongst the favourites for promotion at the start of the season. Hasn't been automatic, but the way they're going about this, they're going to go through via the playoff final because they are dominating Burton Albion. Matty Blair forcing the corner. Got excellent legs. There's Matty Blair. And a player on the wide open spaces of Wembley that should see his energy go right to the wire. Sarcevic with the corner. Taylor. Hooked in by Goodall. Now Pond. Lots of space here. Not the best of crosses though from David Ball. It's disappointing from the position he got himself into. But Fleetwood playing through the lines of Burton Albion with a great deal of ease, which had to be a real worry for the Burton manager Gary Rowett. Now MacDonald, chance to really threaten for the first time for Burton. Cleared by Roberts. And Burton Albion have their first corner. Excellent run from Alex MacDonald. Been mostly a substitute for Burton Albion this season. Cansdale Sheriff taking a position at the near post. It's deeper though by MacDonald. And the goalkeeper Maxwell happy to see that there's no yellow shirt, and after some rather poor handling, this is Sarcevic. Now McFadzean. The one thing that is glaringly obvious in this game is Burton Albion have to close down the space on the Fleetwood Town number 18, Sarcevic. It's a foul by Roberts. I do fear for Burton Albion if they afford Sarcevic too much space here at Wembley. Just about on the edge in terms of shooting direct to goal here. 35 metres, maybe a little more from Chris Maxwell's goal. Looks like MacDonald fancies it. It's come to be dealt with. Away by Pond. Hume. Poor pass from Ian Hume. Fossey. There's McFadzean. Just a little look towards the referee as whether he might have been clipped there. Goal kick is the decision. Should say that our referee today is Michael Naylor. This is Taylor. Nicely collected by Hume. Might drop here for Ball. It's David Ball. And still Sheriff getting an important interception there at the expense of another Fleetwood corner. Good link up here between the two strikers. It's the best of passes in truth from Hume, but a lucky ricochet off Holness. Cairnsdale Sheriff did the tidying up for Burton Albion. Sarcevic with the corner. Very well defended. It was a beautifully flighted corner from Sarcevic. Nathan Pond was applauding that quality. It's another Fleetwood corner. Morris across to take this one. Sarcevic out there to join him in case they want to work this one short. In by Josh Morris. And Pond's header. Well, amongst the Fleetwood Town fans, there'd be no more popular goal scorer than Nathan Pond if he were to find the net today. It's very, very rare that you get a player who's come from such a low level, Northwest Counties League, 9th tier of English football. Here he is now on the brink of League One. An extraordinary story. 6 attempts Fleetwood Town have had to just one from Burton Albion in the opening 13 minutes. This is Phil Edwards. A loose touch from Goodall. Alan Goodall deferred to Stephen Schumacher in the holding midfield role for Fleetwood. Edwards. All the way through here to Maxwell. It all coming together there, but no claim by Key for a penalty. Here's Blair. Sarcevic. McLaughlin. Sarcevic. And now Blair. Sees a gap, Matty Blair. And drop here for David Ball. The referee had a good view of that. Ball was wanting a penalty. All eyes for a second or two there on the referee, Michael Naylor. Now, did Fleetwood have claims for a penalty here? Blair with the initial run. When it drops here to Ball, this is the one to look out for. Sure, the referee sees enough in that. I think the ball is won well by Weir. This one, well, I think he gets it right on both occasions, Michael Naylor. McDonald. And he looks a good outlet at the moment for Burton, who are seeing less of the ball. McDonald just one or two questions already of the Fleetwood left back, Charlie Taylor. Marcus Holness coming forward for this, scored from a header in the playoff semi-final second leg at Southend. Hansdale Sheriff looking to be a problem for the goalkeeper. Cleared by Sarcevic. Back out with Hussey. Just for a moment, wasn't quite sure of his bearings there, the goalkeeper Maxwell. It was Lee Bell who tried the shot from range, the Burton Albion captain. Push by McDonald. Goodall just waiting for Nathan Pond to take up his position. He'll be the likely target of this free kick. Still he waits as it's worked short here to McLaughlin. Now ball. McLaughlin. Roberts. And he finds McDonald with a header who works it nicely into the channel here for Adam McGurk. Wants it on that left foot. And there's quality on his left side. Mark, whether he might have been slightly offside there. The assistant Ed Smart kept his flag down. There's McDonald. McGurk, now Key, McFadze, rather Hussey. There's not much more that Billy Key could do here with the flat cross. "14 goals in the regulation season, made him Burton Albion's top scorer." That's their chairman, Ben Robinson. Been with the club for some 40 years now, twice as a chairman. Was once part of a Burton Albion squad which went to an FA Cup tie on an old school bus when finances were at their tightest. There'll be a few extra coins in the coffers for one of these two come the end of today. McLaughlin. This is Blair. Corner. And getting very good width in their play, Fleetwood Town. Blair on the right. Josh Morris with the corner kick. Up goes Pond. And it struck the arm of Ball. He was promoted to the Championship with Peterborough 3 years ago, David Ball. Well, no goals, but a lively opening quarter to the game. Taylor looking to turn out, which was the wise choice, I think. Sarcevic. Morris. Now Weir. And no sting whatsoever in the shot from McGurk. Just growing into this playoff final, Burton Albion, after a shaky start. Both these clubs survived on home attendances of less than 3,000 in this recently concluded League Two season. You could put the entire populations of the towns of Burton and Fleetwood into Wembley and it wouldn't be full. But those that are here, absorbed with what they're watching, on a day when history will be made for one of these two football clubs. Never before as high as the third tier of English football. Here's McDonald. Not the best of clearances from Roberts. This is McGurk. Now Key. And the shot's a rasping one which stings the hands of Chris Maxwell. McGurk sets it up here. And Key eventually finding Lee Bell. Sarcevic. Now Blair. Taylor. McLaughlin will be joining up with the Northern Ireland squad straight after this final, the Fleetwood right back. Forthcoming games against Uruguay and Chile for the Northern Irish. Only ever got one senior cap, Conor McLaughlin. Came back in 2011 against Italy. Reward for the 22-year-old for an excellent season. Here's McDonald. Easily judged by Roberts. This is Taylor. Morris. Goodall. Poor pass from Alan Goodall. Oh, what a wonderful servant he was to several clubs as a player. Graham Alexander, over 1,000 appearances in his playing career. Fantine's cross, it's catching practice for Chris Maxwell, who lost in the conference playoff final here last season, playing for Wrexham against Newport County. And a spell this season, the Fleetwood goalkeeper on loan at Cambridge, who went up for the conference this season, as did Luton Town, a famous name in English Football League history. Luton finally reclaiming their Football League place after more years down in non-league than many expected. Here's McLaughlin, Sarcevic. Taylor drives, looks to drive beyond McDonald. We've got the final touch. And the corner's as good as a free kick for Charlie Taylor. Just claimed he was balked there by McDonald. And Sarcevic across to take the Fleetwood corner. Another quality ball in. This is Morris. Goes Hume. Morris. Good spell here now for Fleetwood Town. Taken on by Matty Blair. Excellent cross, just beyond pond. Recycled here by Sarcevic. Blair. Holness. And then completing the clearance was McFadden. Here's McLaughlin. Chance to set a ball. That's the side of goal there for David Ball. Poor defending though here to allow McLaughlin to set up the pass here for David Ball. Just the attentions of Cansdale Sheriff there. Just put Ball off his stride. This is Fleetwood Town's first visit to Wembley since 1985, only been here once before. They lost an FA Vase final to Hales Owen Town. Burton Albion haven't been here since 1987, and they lost an FA Trophy final. Actually drew the match here against Kidderminster Harriers. There was replays in those days, and they went to the Hawthorns and lost in that second game. Here's Billy Key. Bell. There's nobody there in the yellow shirt. Been a better quality there from the captain, Lee Bell, who was suspended for both legs for last season's playoff semi-final defeat to Bradford. Gary Rowett's side losing 5-4 on aggregate. Bradford came here to Wembley and won the final at a canter against Northampton Town. There were 3 up in after less than half an hour. No such similar tale here today. We're goalless after half an hour in 2014. Goodall. Header from Ball. Troubling the Burton Albion goal, but he's been involved in most of the good situations inside that Burton penalty area, David Ball. Both he and Hume have looked lively so far. Burton Albion fans doing what they promised to do on 31 minutes. A round of applause for a local radio reporter in the Midlands, Colin Bloomfield, who's been diagnosed with terminal cancer. Fleetwood Town fans well aware of the marking of that 31st minute. Here's Morris. Sasovic. Well, he should enjoy the wide expanse of Wembley. Anthony Sasovic's got real quality in those feet. He continues to find the spaces from a Fleetwood Town point of view. It would certainly aid their quest to win this playoff final. Morris, lovely reverse through ball. Drops here for Sasovic. Can't find the space for a shot, can from the pass, and tidied up by Robbie Weir. Calm and control there. McGurk. Lifted forward by Bell. Another example of how they look to hit the front early, Burton Albion. And hesitation between two there, Goodall and Taylor. They still can't clear the lines. They will now via Matty Blair. Space here now for Morris. Taylor. Josh Morris again. Snapped into the feet here, a ball. Morris wants the return. Holness in charge. Bit of a heavyweight against flyweight here. Marcus Holness and Josh Morris. Only one winner. That was the earlier nice link-up involving Morris and Ball. Charlie Taylor. Marcus Holness growing his hair in every direction in support of his former Tranmere Rovers colleague Joe Thompson, who has been struck down with a rare form of cancer since last November. I say his ex-Tranmere teammate Joe Thompson is currently a Tranmere Rovers player, but he and Marcus Holness were teammates together at Rochdale. Conor McLaughlin. Taylor. Now Pond. McLaughlin. Hume gather that in nicely. Goodall. McLaughlin. It's a free kick against Bell, who then felt the challenge from McLaughlin. Clutches his right knee. Foul was given for that challenge from Bell, and then came the block challenge with McLaughlin, and Bell came off worse. There's nothing wrong with the challenge, even though Lee Bell's having a word with referee Michael Naylor. Just jarred his knee there, the Burton captain. Full free kick from Morris. Holness, now MacDonald. Edwards. Nice reception of the ball there from Key. McLaughlin. He's a footballing brother as well. Ryan is currently at Liverpool. Space here now for Lee Bell. It's a poor pass. McLaughlin. Hugh finding Blair. Sensivic on the charge. Holness is there. And 2 or 3 good interceptions in the last few minutes. Flick on off the head of Hume, but it's too much for David Ball to get on the end of. Dean Linus was a busy Burton Albion goalkeeper in the opening exchanges. Made a couple of important saves from Ball. Has seen the game at somewhat closer quarters for most of the opening 39 minutes than his opposite number, Chris Maxwell. It's a foul by McLaughlin. It's good work from Hussey. Alex MacDonald across to take this free kick. For all that Burton Albion made the playoffs, they weren't heady goal scorers in the regulation League 2 season. Only the bottom 4 managed fewer than their 47. And they need to maximise their free kicks rather better than they did there through MacDonald. It's strong work from McFadzean, opens this up for Alex MacDonald, but no end product. See there that right knee has been stumped up for Lee Bell. And Wembley, a pitch that's unforgiving for any pull or tweak. Maybe just a jarring of the knee is something that we can work off rather than it being anything like a pull or a twist. Conserving energy, most important on a surface like Wembley. Easier said than done. And the adrenaline is pumping so much on such a big occasion. It's McGurk. Not seen much of him so far. Phil Edwards. Cut off well by Blair. There's Morris. Hume. Taken on by Charlie Taylor. He's got an excellent crossing position here. Holness once more takes up a good position for Burton Albion at the expense of a corner. Looks to attack. Charlie Taylor, only 20. Delighted to sign that new 3-year contract with his parent club Leeds last Tuesday. Anthony Sarcevic with the Fleetwood Town corner. Sarcevic looking for a shooting position. He'll not find one, but he will get a free kick. Cheap one to give away that by McDonald. Now this is a good position for Fleetwood Town. You have to fancy Sarcevic, the top scorer from midfield, 14 goals he got in the regulation season. Excellent return from that attacking midfield role of his. We're going to tee him up. Fleetwood Town unbeaten in the 11 games that Sarcevic has scored this season. He won't score there. Excellent closing down. Here's Pond. Taylor. Worked this well, Charlie Taylor. Morris. Referee Naylor has signalled to his fourth official, Keith Stroud, that would be a minimum of 1 minute stoppage time. Mistake from Cansdale Sheriff. Taylor has had a good game from left back. He's played quite a lot of this first half, more like a left winger. Not the best of crosses though from the youngster. Graham Alexander will be slightly frustrated, I think, that his side haven't, for all the possession they've had, worked Dean Linus rather more than they certainly did in the first 5 or 6 minutes when they were excellent. So we're into that extra 1 minute. Goodall. Taylor. Good challenge to McDonald. Taylor nearly got it back again. Here's McGurk. And that's a free kick earned by Adam McGurk. Challenge from Goodall. There's no time to work this short. We're in added on time in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Chris Hussey with a free kick. This is the last play of the opening period. Holness has made his way forward. Whipped in by Hussey. So, stalemate at the interval. Very busy early on. Dean Linus made a couple of important saves from David Ball. when Fleetwood Town got out of the traps really quickly. It took Burton Albion a while to settle. Their best effort, a long-range shot from their captain Lee Bell that stung the hands of Chris Maxwell. History will be made and all to play for at Wembley in the playoff 2 final. It's Burton Albion 0, Fleetwood Town 0.
This program is brought to you by Unibet. With over 25,000 football markets from around the world, join now at unibet.com.au.
Those Fleetwood Town supporters in excellent heart, enjoying their day at the National Stadium. Well, Billy Key hasn't had too much of a side of goal for his manager Gary Rowett so far, neither has Adam McGurk, who was in form in both legs of the semi-final success over Southend United. Rowett's Burton Albion with the outsiders of the 4 contenders before a ball was kicked. In stark contrast, Graham Alexander with the extra budget that's been at his disposal. Fleetwood were favourites to go up via the playoffs. One of the favourites to have gone up automatically. But they played the more fluent team, the side in red and white in the first half. Created the more danger in the respective penalty areas. But their best work, Fleetwood, came in that first 10 minutes when they forced a couple of excellent saves out of Dean Linus. Abated somewhat after that. Burton Albion grew into the game a little. Don't think we'll see too much change in terms of the respective styles. Fleetwood with their more fluent passing game, and Burton looking to hit the front 2 of McGurk and Key and working off the loose ball, and David Ball almost getting enough elevation into the lob to trouble Linus. Having got here, probably would be disappointed he didn't get this over the head of the goalkeeper. It was a real chance. Neither side, incidentally, has made any substitutions at half-time. There was a slight concern about the Burton Albion captain Lee Bell, who picked up that knee problem late on in that first half, but he has reappeared. Looks to be moving okay. This is Blair. The opening corner of the second half goes to Fleetwood Town, attacking the end behind which is the bulk of their support. Goodall, Roberts, Pond, all potential threats in there for the Josh Morris delivery. Goalkeeper looking to come, trying to convince. Here's Taylor. Pond's header on is a good one. Here's MacDonald. Given away very cheaply. Taken on here by Sasovic. Little look up to see what's on. Just unable to pick out the decent run into the box from Morris. Weir. McGurk. MacDonald. Too much of that to Taylor, and then MacDonald clattered into Goodall. And it's broken kindly here for Sasovic. Holness with a start here on ball. He's played well so far today, Marcus Holness, losing his normal centre-back partner in the suspended Ian Sharps. Goodall limps back into the fray. Not pleased with the challenge from MacDonald. Here's Hussey. Space opening up here now for McFadzean. Promising for Burton Albion. Oh, not now. not the time to lose the compass for Callum McFadzean. Good break initially though from Hussey. Been an interesting selection from Gary Rowett to play Callum McFadzean behind Chris Hussey. And in the both legs of the semi-final it was the other way round. McFadzean. Knocked on by Key for Hussey, who's offside. That particular gentleman would have been around in the very thin days for Fleetwood Town. Ted Lowry, their vice president, the type of man that football owes so much to, a supporter all through his life. The club's gone out of existence twice in his time. Can he gorge himself on the unthinkable today? Promotion after North West County football in 2003. Hume. This is Blair trying to set up the shot for Morris. And this is Robbie Weir for Burton Albion. McDonald. Just out of the reach of McGurk. Goodall. McDonald. Holness. Again, Burton looked to hit the front early. Not the best of headers by Roberts. Taken on by McGurk. Good challenge from Pond. Here's Blair. Remember him scoring a couple of goals here at Wembley for his former club York City. This is Sarcevic. McFadzean. Harassed here by Blair. Matty Blair scored in a conference final and an FA Trophy final for York. Callum McFadzean with a throw, and a few appearances for Chesterfield earlier this season. They went up as League Two champions. His parent club is Sheffield United. He's currently on loan to Burton Albion. Sheffield United, of course, are managed by the man to whom Burton Albion owe so much. One of Gary Rowett's predecessors, Nigel Clough, who spent 10 years as manager at Burton Albion. Ironically left them just a few months before they reached the Football League for the first time in their history. First time as Burton Albion. There's been one or two previous Burton teams, Burton Swifts amongst them, that have been in the Football League in the past, but under their name of Burton Albion, they had never been to the Football League prior to 2009. It was actually former England international and Derby centre-back Roy McFarland, who'd been Nigel Clough's assistant, who oversaw the eventual promotion to the league. Nigel Clough had left a few months earlier to take up the reins at Derby County. Here's Robbie Weir. Now Hussey. Space from Key. And eventually that's denied him by McLaughlin, but still it's Billy Key. This is Bell. No sting in the shot. It showed in the first half he's willing to have a go. Lee Bell scored just once in the regulation season. Goodall. Taylor. Morris. Edwards. McGurk. Fouled by Pond. Cansdale Sheriff has stayed back, but Marcus Holness, the other centre-back, has made his way forward. Hussey with the free kick. Key. Edwards. Pond's clearing header. Only as far as McFadzine. Now Hussey. And we saw glory there for a second or two. Chris Hussey. Always a regular for Burton Albion this season. Had a spell on loan at Bury earlier in the campaign. Here's McDonald. Edwards. Oh, it's dropping here for Key. Well, that was a real chance for Billy Key. Dropped invitingly the long ball from Phil Edwards in between the two defenders. He missed it the first time of asking, but it reared up again, and a second bite for Billy Key there. Just stretching to try and turn it on target. To be limping a little bit as well out of that challenge that eventually came in. Still no firm news that his wife has given birth yet. She is in labour. Billy's Key's other half, and he'll certainly enjoy his sleep tonight, even more so if he's a playoff winner, after being up until 6 o'clock this morning. Not quite knowing when his wife would deliver the baby. Not yet, we hear. Here's Taylor. Ball trying to get the best of Cansdale Sheriff, who stayed calm. Sarcevic. It's all his own work. Couldn't begin to get hold of the final shot though, but he's capable. Anthony Sarcevic. Has Italian and Serbian background. Actually born in Manchester. Hume. He's done well to keep this alive, Ian Hume. And it's a definite foul on Phil Edwards. When Andy Pilley first took over at Fleetwood Town in 2003, he attempted to open a window at the stadium and it fell out. That's how dilapidated it was. And they were down in the 9th tier of English football. What a job he's done. Still pinching himself. maybe, just maybe, a little over half an hour away. The 6th promotion in 10 seasons, unprecedented. Here's Phil Edwards. The majority of this playoff final continues to be played in the Burton Albion half. Cleared by Roberts. Fullness judged that well. Here's Sarcevic. Pass has put Blair in trouble. It's a sloppy pass that from Sarcevic. It's opened up a break here now for Burton Albion. It's Callum McFadzean. Urged on by the Burton Albion support at this end of the Wembley Stadium. McFadzean's earned a corner. An hour gone. And is this the moment for Burton Albion? Chris Hussey then with the corner kick. And Weir leaning back with the inevitable result. Disappointed in his technique there, Robbie Weir. I'm sure there's some of these Burton Albion supporters who weren't expecting another playoff campaign after they were beaten in the semi-final stage 12 months ago. But Gary Rowett said it was no spin. His comments at the time that they would come back stronger for the experience and would challenge again, and that they most certainly have. And a very tight budget indeed. They've been the paupers to Fleetwood's relative riches off the pitch this season. There's been hard times in the town of Fleetwood. Population of just under 27,000 most of the 20th century. It was a prominent fishing port, but since the 1970s the industry has declined considerably. The town has subsequently undergone economic difficulties. They're a close-knit community and their football club has served them proud this season. Here's McFadzean. Burton Albion, who are going to make the first change. Xander Diamond, a defender, centre-back, is getting ready to come on for what will be his last game for Burton Albion. Already agreed to join Northampton Town in July. Diamond actually had a spell on loan at Northampton in February, helped them survive relegation, earned him a permanent deal there. But now Gary Rowett calls upon him to replace Marcus Holness. And I can only presume that this is an injury. Holness has performed really well at the back for Burton Albion. It's going to be a straight change at the heart of their defence. dejection for Marcus Holness. No obvious sign, but a little wince there, just as I was making that comment, that he has felt a tweak or a slight pull. And Marcus Holness's final is over. And we're hearing it's a hamstring for Holness. And Xander Diamond immediately into the action. Scott. Three months or so since he last turned out in the yellow of Burton Albion. And having lost Ian Sharps at the beginning of the game for Gary Rowett through suspension, and now his other first choice centre-back Marcus Holness, I think he's very glad to have Xander Diamond back in the ranks and able to slot in there alongside Cansdale Sheriff, whose lack of training this week would have been a concern to the manager with his Achilles problem, but so far Cansdale Sheriff has lasted this final well and needs to now for the remaining minutes. Remember, if we're level at the end of 90, it'll be 30 minutes extra time, and if they still can't be separated, penalties to decide who makes history and goes up to League One for the first time in their history. McFadzean, Hussey. Good ball in this from Chris Hussey, dealt with by Roberts. Getting to the stage of the game now where fitness will be key, and with tired legs often comes tired minds. This is not a place to be a loser, and for an individual out there to make an error, total concentration needed from here on in as well. Big hearts, the prize massive. Here's Weir. Let's go another way. Just checking with Lee Bell over the state of that right knee. He injured late on in the first half. Not sure he's moving entirely freely out there. This is Nathan Pond. Quarter of the 90 to go, and that's loose from the big centre-back. I just wonder if Fleetwood Town do get over the line, whether they'll let Nathan Pond, their longest serving player, lift the trophy. Edwards. Game going through its scrappiest spell at the moment. Both sides giving the ball away cheaply. Out of play. Ian Hugh. Handball against Sarcevic. talked about how important fitness will be from here on in this energy-sapping, huge Wembley pitch. Burton Albion enjoy the best training facilities you can possibly get in this country, because it's the National Football Centre in Burton, which was opened in 2012, where they have their home facilities, St George's Park. State-of-the-art training pitches and facilities there. It's corner, took a deflection, McDonald's effort. Just for a moment, Chris Maxwell was backtracking nervously. Nine months of toil and hard work being condensed now into perhaps 20 minutes, maybe more. Hussey with the Burton Albion corner. Oh, the header should have been directed towards goal. What a chance! Diamond to help it back in, but Cansdale Sheriff at the near post. How did he not turn this on target? Look at the space. That's a real chance. It's gone begging for Burton Albion. Couldn't have wished for a better opening than that. Gary Rowett played a lot of his career as a centre-back himself, and would have loved to have pulled a yellow shirt on and been in that position himself there. Here's McFadzean. Burton Albion coming on strong here now. McGurk. Key. McDonald. Three waiting for the cross. Pond away. Sarcevic. And Fleetwood Town, just for a moment, happy to get the free kick. Meantime, Alex McDonald has been having words with the touchline that he might have an injury, seemed to be reflecting towards a foot problem, McDonald. Burton Albion bench assessing that at the moment, but Cansdale Sheriff assessing his chance bang in front of goal. Clearest opening Burton Albion have had. Alex McDonald's final is going to be over shortly. I'm hearing from touchline that foot injury is going to take him out of the equation shortly. And Zeli Ismail, there he is, player on loan from Wolves. He's had a hamstring issue himself, which kept him out of the second leg of the semi-final against Southend. So off comes McDonald. It's a like-for-like swap on the right side of midfield in 20-year-old Zeli Ismail, Albanian born. Very quick. Has a little eye for goal. Will he turn out to be the hero for Burton Albion? Or will it be the beast, as he's known? The big unit that is John Parkin. Very experienced striker who's going to come on very shortly, I understand, for Matty Blair, and that will be an aggressive substitution from Graham Alexander. Aggressive run straight away here from Ismail. Talked about that pace and directness, and he's earned a corner. Gary Rowett sent him out to work Charlie Taylor, the young left back. He's done that immediately. Well, here comes Parkin for Blair. Ten goals in the regulation season for Parkin. Fleetwood Town are the 12th different club of his long career. 32 years old now, been in and out of the side this season. Can the big man be the big player on the big occasion? Hussey with the Burton Albion corner. Maxwell getting a fingertip to that. It drops nicely now for McLaughlin. Cut out easily by Ishmael. Gathered in here by Josh Morris. Oh, and that's certain to be a booking for Phil Edwards. It's the first yellow card of the game. He sensed the danger, knew what he was doing, and knew what the referee would produce. Parkin offers considerable threat now to the Burton Albion defence from situations like this. Sarcevic to deliver. Oh, the goalkeeper's lost it and it's in! Anthony Sarcevic makes the breakthrough for Fleetwood Town, and Andy Pilley. So many dreams fulfilled. Another one, maybe on the horizon now. The man who's produced more goals in the red and white of Fleetwood this season than anyone else, Sarcevic. But it's a horrible error from Dean Linus, the goalkeeper. Gets caught underneath the flight. There was a player offside there, but he didn't intervene, Nathan Pond. But Maxwell certainly did. He got a fingertip to it, but misread the flight awfully there, the goalkeeper, and paid a huge price for it. We're talking about a meteoric rise for the football club. What about Sarcevic? Chester FC in the shadows of non-league football until Fleetwood Town picked him up. He was playing in the 6th tier of English football last season. Now he's a goal scorer at Wembley. Roy of the Rovers stuff. Here's Weir. Burton looking for immediate reply. McGurk. Tired looking cross that. And it's arced out for a goal kick. Less than quarter of an hour for Gary Rowett's Burton Albion to do something about this. Graham Alexander's first managerial role. 18 months in the job and on the brink of promotion. Matt Palmer, midfield player, coming on now for Burton Albion, or he will shortly. Lee Bell's knee injury is going to mean that he'll have to go off earlier than he'd anticipated, the captain. So Bell off, Palmer on. Matt Palmer, born in Derby, being disappointed that his boyhood heroes lost in the Championship playoff final here against Queen's Park Rangers. But Sarcevic reliving the moment when his free kick was looking for Nathan Pond, I think, but it found only the fingertip of the goalkeeper, Linus. But Sarcevic's goal, even though it touched off the goalkeeper's hand. Taylor. Looked like a push. Referee Naylor saw it that way against Billy Key. You cannot wipe the smile off that man's face. It's been fixed there for the best part of 6 or 7 years. Sarcevic. Morris. Falls rather theatrically, referee not fooled by that. Needs to stick here for McGurk. Weir. McFadzean. Burton Albion are far from finished here. But they're going to have to throw more players forward, I think. Well, there are only a little over 14,000 inside the Wembley Stadium that holds close to 90,000. Two of the clubs with the lowest support in the English Football League. And the team with the lowest population for any football club in all four divisions. Under 27,000 is the population of Fleetwood. Well, they've got about a quarter of the town here today. And they're watching their side edging closer and closer to yet another promotion. 10 minutes left. Hussey. Here's Diamond. Wouldn't be surprised if either he or Cansdale Sheriff within the next few minutes are pushed forward as an extra centre forward. Edwards launches that forward towards McGurk. It will be cleared by Mark Roberts. McFadzean. Hussey. Roared forward by the Burton Albion fans. Space now for Palmer. McGurk. Palmer again. Weir. Edwards. A little bit more control of the football now from Burton Albion. I think it has to be. Eventually Weir lobs it in. Goalkeeper looking to command, doesn't get there, but does. Crucially, the second time of asking. A little bit nervous for a split second there for Chris Maxwell. Excellent control there from Parkin. It's John Parkin's cross! Just above the target of Hume, who was offside. Fleetwood Town getting another substitution ready. Stuart Murdoch, the midfield player. Faces etched with tension. 7 minutes of the 90 remaining. Is it going to be heartbreak again for the second consecutive season in the playoffs for Burton Albion? Murdoch for Ian Hume is going to be the change shortly for Fleetwood. Hume doing the closing down. This is Palmer. Edwards. Good ball into the channel here for McGurk. Slipped and allowed Roberts the time to link up and make the clearance. Fleetwood only as far as Diamond. Hume. Good use of the ball there from Ian Hume. Here's Parkin. Sasovic. McLaughlin. Sasovic. Good run here from David Ball. Oh, and Hume almost got there. Had the ball gone dead, he wouldn't have been in that position, because the message on touchline is he was coming off as soon as we got a break in play, but he very nearly wrapped it up there for Fleetwood. Here's Hussey meantime at the other end. Decent cross, no pressure though on Taylor. McGurk trying the volley, it'll drop for Palmer. And he couldn't get the connection he needed under pressure, Matt Palmer. And now Ian Hume will be substituted by Stuart Murdoch. Excellent ball that from Hussey. Ian Hume's first taste of Wembley almost brought him a goal, as he makes way now for Murdoch. Former Falkirk player, the Scot, Stuart Murdoch, just dropped into midfield to shore things up for a Fleetwood Town club that are now less than 5 minutes plus stoppage time away from history. Edwards, cleared by McLaughlin. Ismail, under hit the pass, it's easy for McLaughlin. Ismail, the fresh legs. Straight into the grateful arms of Chris Maxwell. Just not enough quality in the final third from Burton Albion. I think you can see why they scored so few goals in that regulation League Two season. As I mentioned earlier, only the bottom four clubs managed fewer than their 47. I think it says a lot for their defensive qualities. It's been one mistake that might yet prove to be decisive. Clearance that Cansdale Sheriff wanted. And handball against Ball. Well, they've got to take some big risks now, Burton Albion. Really got to push more players up in support of McGurk and Key. That's what they have done now. Xander Diamond is playing as an auxiliary centre forward. Ismail needs to get his head up here and see what's on. Well, he's got a corner out of it. And can Burton Albion take this to extra time? Chris Hussey with the corner. Who can step up and be a hero in the yellow of Burton Albion here? Well, the answer, no one, despite the efforts of Xander Diamond. Referee Michael Naylor has indicated to Keith Stroud, his fourth official, that very shortly the fans will witness that we will be having a minimum of 4 minutes of stoppage time. That's how close Fleetwood Town are. He stops nicely. for Sarcevic. Full pass at the end of it. It eats up a few more seconds. Ismail, 90th minute now. Weir. Space to turn into here for Billy Keane, and he ran into Pond, who's picked up an injury in the process. Have to drag himself up if he can, Nathan Pond, but he's hurt. This is Hussey. Key. Oh, a terrific block there. I think it might have been Pond. Ismail, excellent run. Can he find the cross? He's won a corner. We're into the 4 extra minutes now. Oh, Pond threw his body on the line there. I think Linus was thinking about coming forward to try and atone for his error. He stays in the centre circle. Hussey with the corner. Cleared, but only partially by Maxwell. Fleetwood defence have stayed in there, but Burton Albion can't work that. And here's Nathan Pond. Surely can't go all the way, can he? It's a 3-on-1. Oh, and he can't find the pass. Burton Albion stay alive. They're getting so tired out there. They can hardly get one foot in front of the other, some of the players. McFadzean. Palmer, Edwards, a right back playing left winger. In comes the cross, away by Roberts. Weir. Sarcevic. It's a sensible ball in the circumstances. A few more seconds eaten up. We're into the last 90 now, 90 seconds. Header on by Diamond, cleared by Murdoch. This is McFadzean. Oh, he struck it well, but it was always travelling wide for Chris Maxwell's left-hand post. Losers at the semi-final stage 12 months ago. And now looks like despair for Gary Rowett and Burton Albion again, and it will be hard to come again for a third time in a row, particularly with the small budget that they operate on. I have to give great credit to Burton Albion for getting this far, but Graham Alexander's Fleetwood Town are so close. Linus wants to get forward, the goalkeeper. He's itching to get further up the pitch. Launched in by Cansdale Sheriff. It drops here for Billy Key. Trying to set up Palmer. It's a last-ditch challenge. And it's that man again, Nathan Pond. What a story his is. Northwest Counties. Barely in the shadows of the English football pyramid 11 years ago, Nathan Pond. He's so close to being a League One player. Every sinew being stretched back there from the Fleetwood defence. Cleared by Parkin. We're in the last almost 30 seconds. Hussey. There's a crowd scene in there. Fleetwood win it, and there's a free kick, and that should be enough for Fleetwood Town. And the Cod Army, as their fans have called, that have made the trip down from the Fylde Peninsula in Lancashire to support Graham Alexander and his players. No place, Wembley, for a loser, and Dean Linus's mistake looks as though it's going to be so costly for Burton Albion. The referee is about to blow the full-time whistle to signal history for Fleetwood Town, and they are there. What a story, quite remarkable. An unprecedented 6th promotion in 10 seasons for Fleetwood Town. Anthony Sarcevic with the goal, and Andy Pilley, the chairman, and the rest of his board celebrate high up in the stands at Wembley. Poor old Dean Linus with a mistake. You feel so sorry for him. Despair and elation on the famous hallowed turf of Wembley. What a story for Sarcevic as the two goalkeepers, there's a union there as Maxwell consoles Linus. For Sarcevic, what a season he's had, and perhaps in many ways fitting that he should get the goal with an element of good fortune about it. But the Cod Army will be swimming their way back to Lancashire. They won't worry that the heavens have opened and the rain falls, because it's sunshine all the way to League One for Sarcevic and Fleetwood Town. The £10 million that the chairman has put in, and there's Ted Lowry, the vice president, who stood when Andy Pilley oversaw Fleetwood Town's first game with him as chairman, when the home gate was 80. Well, they'll be adding to that next season, I'm sure, in League One. Gary Rowett accepts defeat with dignity and grace. But a truly unbelievable rise through the English football pyramid. 6th promotion in 10 seasons, and Graham Alexander is the man to deliver it. And they've got there without conceding a single goal in the playoffs. Congratulations to Fleetwood Town. Commiserations for the 2nd successive season to Burton Albion. At Wembley in the League Two playoff final, it's finished. Burton Albion 0, Fleetwood Town 1. 5 seconds to commentary. So Mark Roberts, the Fleetwood Town captain, leads the victorious side up the famous Wembley steps. It's a long way up to the moment when the trophy, the League Two playoff final winners, will be in this man's hands. Caretaker manager himself in his time on a couple of occasions at Stevenage. Very well educated off the field. Mark Roberts has a degree in sports journalism, but has brought so much experience to the back line for Fleetwood Town this season. It's been crucial for the manager Graham Alexander to have a leader like Roberts out there on the pitch. So many other heroes, history makers. They will go down forever in Fleetwood Town's books as the players who brought an unprecedented 6th promotion in the matter of a decade. Matty Blair, whose single goal brought them to Wembley in that semi-final victory over York City. There is the trophy that shortly will be in the hands of Mark Roberts. He embraces the chairman, Andy Pilley, who's been in tears, and that's wholly understandable. What a journey. And without that man's £10 million, Fleetwood Town would be nowhere close to where they are right now. And Nathan Pond there. But here, fleet of foot, Fleetwood Town's rise up the English football pyramid. 6 promotions in 10 seasons is unprecedented. It won't rain on their parade, it will shine, and it will shine all through summer long until they take their place deservedly in the 3rd tier next season. It's League One football in a few months' time for Fleetwood Town. As we sign off at Wembley, from Kevin Keatings and all the team, our congratulations go to Fleetwood Town, Andy Pilley, the chairman, and manager Graham Alexander, and our commiserations to Gary Rowett and Burton Albion.